Welcome back to Return My Capital. Check your brokerage accounts because you may have just been paid a dividend yesterday if you own VXUS. That's right, today we're doing a quick review of VXUS, which is Vanguard's Total International Stock ETF. If you're unfamiliar with this ETF, it's the equivalent of VTI but for non-US based companies. So if you like to set it and forget it when it comes to investing and you're dialed in with VTI or VU for American companies, then this ETF here, VXUS, is the international version of those. If you aren't interested in researching companies located outside of the US, or you have a hard time investing in a company that you may not see their products or services ever in your lifetime, then VXUS is a great way to get exposure to companies from around the world. So we see shares currently trading for 53.41 per share. That's in the middle, just about of the 52-week range, ranging from 44 up to 61. Over the past year, we see shares down 10, almost 11%. Over the past 10 years, up 11%. We'll take a look in just a moment here at international compared to domestic, if you live in the US anyway. Stock performance over the past year, 5 year, 10 years. Let's take a look at this expense ratio here. We see 0.07%. That's tremendous, as you typically get with Vanguard products. The low expense ratio is huge for the long-term investor. Dividend frequency, as you would expect, quarterly payouts. You're going to get $1.62 per share of VXUS over the year. Yield is just over 3% with $52.5 billion under management for VXUS here. If we take a look at returns over the past 10 years and just share price appreciation over the past 10 years for VXUS, we're up a little over 11%. Compare that to 155% for the S&P 500 on the past 10 years. So, as you may or may not know, US-based companies' stock market has performed vastly superior to the international counterparts over the past 10 years. But again, as you know or may not know, past returns are no guarantee of future performance, as I'm sure you've heard that saying before. Over the past year, international slightly better, about 1.5% superior returns over the past year. 3 years lagging, 5 years lagging, 10 years lagging. But again, if you think that the era of the past 10, 20, 30 years of superior U.S. stock returns compared to international is going to change course, if you will, going forward, then VXUS is one of the first places you'd want to take a look. If we look at the sector holdings of VXUS, we've got financials in the top position with 20%. Followed by industrials and technology. Those top three holdings, you're looking at about 45% weighting for the top three holdings. Consumer cyclical, right behind technology, followed by healthcare, basic materials, consumer defensive, communications, energy, with real estate and utilities rounding out the last two positions at just about 3%. If we want to look at individual holdings for VXUS, and again, this is a ETF with almost 8,000 holdings. So when we say that it's similar to VTI, that's because of the amount of holdings, the relatively low weighting of any individual company. We'll see here the top holding of VXUS is just over 1%, almost 1.5%, but everything else is under 1%. So similarly to VTI for American companies, where you've got thousands of individual companies held within the ETF, you're getting that same type of exposure with VXUS. Now compare that to an ETF like VU, where it's the S&P 500. Obviously you have 500 or just over 500 companies in VU, so your weightings of individual companies is going to be significantly higher. And certainly you'll see that when I do future ETF review videos in the coming days. With that being said, top 10 holdings of individual companies for VXUS, you've got Taiwan Semiconductor, 1.44%, Nestle, 1.1%, and that's it for companies that are over 1% weighting in the ETF because there are almost 8,000 companies within VXUS. We've got Tencent, ASML, big chip maker, Novo Nordisk, Samsung, Shell, LVMH, big luxury goods, Roche Holding, AstraZeneca. So those are the top 10 individual companies. And from there, you're just going to continue to get fractions and fractions of a percent for individual companies. Quick look at the dividends. So again, yield 3%, annual payout of $1.62. Dividend growth on this one, extremely minimal. So just over a percent dividend growth CAGR over the past 5 years. So if you're looking for a dividend growth play, this has not been the move for the past 5-10 years. If we look at ex-dividend and payout, ex-dividend date was on the 20th of March, payout was yesterday. Well, you saw the funds yesterday anyway on the 24th. Payout date was the 23rd. Taking a look at that dividend growth history, you see it is relatively flat, plus or minus. We look back at 2012, you were getting paid $1.39 on an annual basis. Let's kick forward 10 years later, 2022, you're looking at $1.60 paid out annual basis, and fluctuations in the years in between there. Momentum, you see, not great. But you could say the same thing for the S&P 500. So that about does it for VXUS here. Wanted to do, again, a quick snapshot. Don't want this to drag on. I'm going to do this for a great variety of ETFs, including sector specialty ETFs, total market ETFs. You'll see as it plays out here over the next couple weeks. The end of March here represents a window where many of the Vanguard ETFs will be paying out dividends, so I'm going to be doing these pretty rapid fire over the next couple weeks so that you know what you're getting yourself into with these ETFs. I'll put these ETF reviews under the same playlist, so as these get made, you can just click into my ETF review playlist and get caught up if you miss one. So if you're interested in briefly seeing metrics on dividends, price performance, sector weightings, top individual holdings for these top ETFs in the world, really, then consider subscribing to Return My Capital so you don't miss a review. And yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. Let's make some money. Bye-bye.